and mystery. The dictionary, the best description of curiosity is inquisitive. Inquisitive. It also says a desire to know. But I really like inquisitive as the word to kind of lead us. Clearly, curiosity is a basic of all human life. Think toddlers, children, that Ross just sang about. If you didn't recognize all those fairy tale songs in that, children are the most inquisitive, curious people that we know, yes? So when they ask you why, don't dismiss them. Why? No, it can be annoying, but we don't want to dismiss that why. We want to keep engaging their natural curiosity, toddlers. Then let's see other life stations. Think teens. Now sometimes their curiosity leads them in maybe in a path that we don't want them going, but if we still think of it as curiosity, that's fine. Think of any inventor. Think of any scientist. Think of any artist. Think of all the people who say why and why not? Why not? I'm proud to say that I was one of those kids, and I still am one of those kids. Why and why not? I like being curious. The idea of the dictionary definition that I said, called a desire to know, can lead us into something that I don't think is really all that healthy. It goes contrary, and that is a know-it-all. The desire to know, if it's because I want to be a know-it-all, I want to know more than you, I want to have one up from you, that's opposite of curiosity, at least the way I'm using it. So know-it-all can lead us down a road. You get to check out, as in everything with this philosophy, you get to check it out for yourself. And so I was kind of doing a review around my life. So I'm thinking, okay, the desire to know something, or the desire to learn something, when we look at ourselves in elementary school, perhaps we are doing that because we want to get good grades to please our teachers and our parents. These are just some ideas. Yours might be completely different. Then high school, it's like maybe we're driven to learn or to know something because maybe we want to get into a good college. And then maybe we go to college because we want to have a good high-paying career. You know, there's like, what's driving that need to know as we go along? What drives you to learn? What drives you to be curious? What drives you? What's behind it to make you want to go, why? Or why not? The best answer is the one that is, I'm going to say God-driven, that presence inside of us that calls us in a certain direction. Because we all get called in different directions. What makes one person go into arts, as someone like Ross, who plays this beautiful instrument? What makes somebody go into the sciences? What makes somebody go into computer technology? I was talking to Becky this morning, and I said, I am not one bit curious about what makes computers work. I am not one bit curious. I am not curious about that. I'm going to say, can you help? I'm going to reach out to somebody else to be curious about that. I know both Joanne and Lamont have said to me, oh yeah, well I Googled it and I read some research on how to do that. I'm thinking, oh God, that is not where my curiosity lies, you know? But this religion, spirituality, philosophy, it's like, I can't get enough. I can't get enough. What did they say? What did that, all these different religions, what did he say? That turns me on. So you're all going to have different things that drive you, but the things you are attracted to, the things that you're naturally curious about, to me, those are like, I'm saying God-given, as in normal vernacular, we say God-given. It's our God self saying, check that out. Check that out. So we all have natural tendencies towards some things and not others. And I'm saying that because it's okay. It's okay if you don't want to know why scientists, you know, the hours and hours and hours and hours of testing a hypothesis may not be your cup of tea. Let the scientists do that. It's okay. That's great. So that's a question for you to ask. What drives you to want to know something? What drives you to want to learn something? Perhaps you see a pattern. So I'm calling this curiosity and mystery because this desire to know, or to be a know-it-all, which we all hate know-it-alls, don't we? Don't you hate know-it-alls? Don't be one. Don't be one. Stay curious is my topic today. Stay curious. Part of that drive to know something also must come with this humbling idea that there's so much we will never know, and I'm calling that the mystery. I personally, and all of you who are here with me, have come into a spiritual philosophy that doesn't give you all the answers. We do not give you all the answers. We don't say, this is it, this is the book you read, and this is the conclusion you come to. That's just one example of the mystery. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, stay open at the top. Stay open at the top. Be willing to learn more. Don't ever think that we know it all. People, as I walk around my world, who find out that I'm a minister, they'll ask me very definitive questions. What do you believe about that? I think, oh, I hate those questions. Because it's like, how much time you got? It's not, we don't have pat answers. We don't, well, what we believe about that is boom. It's like, well, what do you believe about that? What have you been taught about that? What we believe in? It's like, it's complex, right? You will never find Centers for Spiritual Living ministers telling you that you know it all. So here I'm teaching this philosophy that says we're going to do these affirmations, we're going to do this prayer, we're going to blah, blah, blah. But we don't by any means know it all. So there's the mystery. So for me, when I sit quiet in the meditation and I get real still, there's that sense of, there's something else. There's something mysterious that I'm not ever going to know. And rather than being afraid of that or upset because I'm not going to know it all, it's exciting. I'm not going to know it all. There's a certain amount of mystery. The unknown part is part of the fun. Life would be really dull, really boring without the mystery, although we think we want to know it all. But gosh, if we did, why would we be here? So that sense of mystery leads us into, let me be more curious. They work together. I wonder what. So let them work together. Let them work together. But be humble enough to know we are not going to know it all. I love that. I'm not afraid of that. I love that. So the question is, can you be curious? And can you be excited, not fearful? Can you be curious and excited about what could be? About the greater yet to be? Rather than, I got my life with all my ducks in a row, and this is the way it's going to be, and then we freak out when it changes. Let it be exciting. Can you be curious about the next evolution? One of the things that provokes I have my life in a nice little path, my ducks are in a row, and now I'm turning, and you talk about the next age. It scares a lot of people. Oh, really? Okay, so I told you I would explain this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bertha.
Super Shawn.
You're right. It's exactly what it stands for. It's Super Shawn, not Superwoman, not Superman. You notice the purple heart around this? This was my wife's design. She designed this for me with the purple heart to represent my heart.
Yeah.
And then took the Superman. So almost 3 years ago now, I turned 60. Yes, this is my birthday month. I get to say I'm 63 this month. But 3 years ago when I turned 60, I thought, rather than what I see a lot of friends and people do is, oh God, I'm turning 60. I decided to make it a ritual. I decided to make it a crossing of a threshold. And I told you about it 3 years ago. If you were here, I brought my goddess staff in with me. And I had a group of women in my backyard and my good friend Reverend Tinker who led this ritual for me to claim this part of my life as wisdom. This is my wisdom time. And so there was elements of goddesses in there was elements of wisdom, there was elements of superpowers, and so this represents Super Shawn. Not to say that I'm like, I can just go flying over tall buildings. I'd like to. But for me to claim my Shawnness, whether you think it's super or not, I do. Because it's my life. To claim my wisdom time, to step into that power. I did a little dance and I crossed over a threshold and I just did all kinds of ritualistic things to claim it as something beautiful. To be curious about my next evolution, not, oh my God, you're getting old. Which is what a lot of people do with that. What's next for me? What's next with these eyes, with this consciousness, with this heart, with this knowledge now? I'm way different than I was when I was 25, aren't you? I mean, a lot of you probably wouldn't have liked me when you were 25. No, when I was 25, I should say. That's what I meant to say. You probably wouldn't have liked me when I was 25. I was a very different person when I was 25. I like this person, and I want you to like who you are. Let's not use age as me. It's part of the next evolution. Where does all this that I'm talking about start? Of course, in our consciousness. It starts in consciousness. We can reframe and change anything we want, from fearful to curious, from, oh my God, what's it going to be, to, ooh, what's the next evolution, to, why is this happening to me, to, why not, and what does it mean? In our consciousness, we get to change it as we want it. And we must look below the surface of things, right? We must look. If we only look at what we see out in front of us, we miss the mark. We must look below the surface. This is what's going on. I wonder what could this be about? Rather than, I hate that this is happening to me. You see that just the shift, even the way I'm describing it, from fearing it and hating it to, what is this going on? You have a physical thing going on. What does this mean for me? Is there something I'm supposed to learn here? Let me be curious rather than angry or rather than fearful. So we're looking below the surface for ourselves. And now I'm going to give a very specific. We also need to look below the surface with other people. In our relationships, and especially in our communication with other people. So I'd like to take these words, stay curious, and put them together with, in my communications with other people. In my relationships, because relationships are built on what? Communication of some sort. You know, we're wanting to reach out and connect with somebody. We use words. By and large, we use words. So, ask questions is the best way for us to look below the surface when I'm looking at another person and I'm communicating. Let me ask questions. Not to be nosy. That's a whole different thing. Ask questions, not to be nosy. Ask questions, do not make assumptions. I've done at least 2, maybe 3 whole month of talks about the 4 agreements, and we know that one of those is do not make assumptions. And yet we do. We assume that we know why somebody did what they did, and we may be way wrong. We may be way wrong. So stay curious when somebody says something to us. If we're like, if our mind is making up what it meant, ask them. What did it mean when you said that? Or, I'm not following you. Can you say it another way so that maybe I can understand you? It's so important because we spend our whole life in communication with other people. And sometimes it's one word or one concept that goes, and we miss. And what do? We get mad at the person, or can't believe you said that, but a lot of times we're making it up what it meant. So ask the question, don't make assumptions. Be curious, not to criticize. All right, because why are you doing it that way? That's a critical question. Whereas, can you tell me why you did it that way? I'm looking at Ron, so he's reacting appropriately, yes. You know, why did you do it that way? It's critical. Like, I'm going to tell you, you should have done it a different way. Oh, why did you do it that way?
Just to piss you off.
Which you can say because we have a good connection, right? I think you get the idea, but this is, to me, this philosophy is practical application. It's all about practical application. So if we can't put it into practice with another human being, we're going to be lost when we go into the bigger picture, which I'm going to do. So today I'm starting with ourselves and others. Then we're going to move it out, move it out, move it out to a world that works for everyone, of course. All month long, we're going to be developing this. So stay curious with humans. Ask the question. Don't be nosy. Don't make assumptions. Can you be curious about your own life and what's going on for you? Can you appreciate the mystery? Can you be curious instead of a know-it-all? And can you celebrate the little ones in your life and go, why? And then also add, why not? And can you let it be fun? That's the shift. Let's be curious is fun. I think we know it all is boring. And here's the sign for boring in sign language. Yeah. That's boring. boring. Okay, so I would like to ask you to start the interaction with me. So we can put those PowerPoint. So these are just some primer questions for you. Just the idea that I said curiosity as a superpower. What might that mean to you? How well do you appreciate the unknown or the mystery? Do you tend toward know-it-all or figure it all out versus curiosity? In communications, questions versus assumption, any experience you might have with that, any ahas or personal experiences. These are just primers. Please do not answer like question by question. These are just primers. And I'm going to start with a story that I started to tell before service. I said I'm going to wait. So one of the things that got me curious to begin with, one of the things that got me thinking outside of the boxes when it comes especially to spiritual things. I had a 10th grade teacher. And I was young for my age, so I think I was only 14. A 10th grade teacher, and it was a sociology class, I believe. And he said, don't ever think that you know it all. Or, no wait, no that's not it. He said, don't ever be 100% sure of anything. And I think a lot of my classmates, high school kids are probably like, whatever, because at that point we do know it all, right? In high school, that's when you think you know it all when you're a teenager. I got this all figured out. He said, don't be 100% sure of anything. He says, and he points to the wall in the classroom, and he says, don't ever be 100% certain that you can't walk through that wall. And I could practically hear the other kids doing that, and I'm like, oh, I loved it. So right now, I don't think I can walk right through that wall, or maybe I can. Don't ever be 100% certain about anything. To me, opened it up.